Beep boop bop, it's Becca, and welcome back to Baking with Becca. So today we're going to be making vegan frosted brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts. Now these are going to be special because usually Pop-Tarts aren't vegan, they aren't vegetarian because they have gelatin and a bunch of other stuff in them. So these are going to be nice and fresh and homemade and delicious, and I'm so excited, so here we go. So here are all of our ingredients for the dough for our Pop-Tarts. So here we have 2½ cups of flour, 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 6 tablespoons of margarine, 3/4 cups of vegetable shortening, and 1/2 cup of ice water. So we're going to start off by adding our dry ingredients together. So we have our salt, and we have our sugar just for a little bit of sweetness in the dough. And then we want to give this a quick stir. And then we're ready to add in our margarine and our Crisco. So it's a good idea to cut your margarine into some smaller pieces just so it's easier to combine. And then we're going to want to mix it all in. So just throw those in there. And we can also add our Crisco in. Now using a pastry cutter, you're just going to kind of mash in these wet ingredients into the flour. And it's going to get nice and clumpy. We want to just try and get it into nice coarse pieces. So another tip, you want to make sure that your margarine is cold, because if it is not cold, it's not going to form the dough correctly. So this is just about ready to add our water. You know that it's the right size because it's coarse. It's about the size of peas, just nice and crumbly. So now we are ready to add in our cold water. So you want to make sure that the water is cold, ice cold, because that's going to be what congeals the dough and helps it stay together. So I'm just going to take the ice cubes out just so we don't have ice cubes in our dough. And we're just going to add in a little bit of water and stir it up. So I'm just going to use a spoon and mix it up. And you're obviously going to need to add more water than this, but you want to just do a little bit at a time. It's going to be easier for it to combine. Form our nice moist dough. Moist. Now a little bit more water. You also only want to add a little bit of water at a time because you don't know if you're going to need to use the whole thing. So the dough is getting a lot thicker, and I'm going to go over to just using my hands to finish combining it and see if I need to add any more water. I think it's always easy to just do this so you can see how much it's really coming together. And it's nice and cold. So the dough is nicely sticking together. It's not too wet, not too dry. So I'm just going to break it into 2 pieces. And then we're going to wrap it in some saran wrap, just some normal plastic wrap, and put it in the refrigerator to chill for 1 hour. You can do it for longer, that might help, but you really only need to do an hour. I'm just going to switch it down a little bit. And in the fridge they go. So next, we are going to make the filling for our Pop-Tarts while our dough is finishing cooling. Chilling. So here we have 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and 1 tablespoon of flour. So we're just gonna add them all in together and mix it up with a fork because we don't want it to be too lumpy. And this is what's just gonna go right between our 2 pieces of pastry. So this is gonna have really nice, like rich sugary flavor from the brown sugar, and then the cinnamon. It's going to be really good together. this looks nicely combined, and we're going to get our dough out and start rolling it. Okay, so our dough is cooled. We want to start rolling it out. So first we want to just put a little bit of flour down on our surface because we don't want it to stick. Like, we really don't want it to stick, because that will be a mess transferring it over onto our baking sheet. Put that down. More on top. So it's also a good idea to put a little bit of flour on your rolling pin just so that also doesn't stick. And we want to roll this out pretty thin. So this is very thin. And now if you have some sort of template you want to use, go for it. It doesn't really matter how big you make them. I don't have anything solid to use, so I'm just going to use this little paper cutout. I'm going to place it down, and then I'm just going to cut around the side of the paper, all the way around. Perfect, so now I'm going to go ahead and finish doing that with all of the dough. Okay, so all of our dough is now cut out except for a little bit of extra, which we will use after. So we have 10 of our bottoms on here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of water and I'm gonna line the sides, just like this. And this is gonna help the top stick to the bottom. Okay, so now we're gonna put a little bit of filling in. So I'm just gonna sprinkle it in right in the middle. You don't wanna get it too close to the sides because that's where the other dough is gonna go. Just like that. And because it's brown sugar, it's gonna get melty in the oven, so don't worry about this being so crumbly right now. So now we're gonna take one of the tops. So this is the same thing as the bottom, but we poked little holes in it, so it has little slits made just with a knife. And we're gonna place it on top. And then take a fork, and you just wanna push it down like this. It's going to make sure that it doesn't open up when they're baking. Okay, and now this one is completely ready. I'm going to go ahead and do that for all the rest of them. Also, while you're doing this process, you want the oven to be preheated to at 350 degrees. Our Pop-Tarts are all ready to go in. We have 10 that are ready, so these are going to go in the oven again for about 20 minutes. You want to check them as you go, and if they start to get golden on the edges, that means that they are done. So here we go. And now last but not least, we're going to make our glaze. We're making a cinnamon glaze. So here we have 3/4 cups of powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon of rice milk, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm just gonna add them all into one bowl. So cinnamon's gonna add even more cinnamon flavor, which I'm so excited for. Then our nice little vanilla flavor. And we'll just mix it up. So as you can see, this is a little bit too thick. So go ahead and add a little bit of extra rice milk. Okay, looking good. So now we'll wait for the Pop-Tarts to finish cooling, and then we'll add on our glaze. So the Pop-Tarts are all out of the oven. My house smells amazing. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take a little bit of our glaze and spread it on top of our Pop-Tart, and then I'm gonna place it onto, I'm just gonna put that here. And it's okay if some of it drips off. So if you let it sit for a while, they'll set, So you can eat it once it has set, or you can just have it while it's still a little warm and it will just ooze off. So I'm gonna do that for all of the rest of them. They're all done, and I'm gonna try one now. So let's just do this one. I'm gonna break it open just so we can see what it looks like. Ooh, look inside. And it did get melty. Good thing. Okay, let's try it. Mmm. Those are really good. It has such a nice, like, flaky, crispy, like, crunch to the crust of it. And the cinnamon flavor is so good. Wow, these are really good. I hope you guys try out this recipe. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Check out some of my other videos. I made cinnamon rolls earlier, so that's pretty similar to this. There's a link to that right over here. And I'll see you next time. Bye.